She's still laughing.
That's so funny. Welcome to 5 Lemons Left. We're the real stuff, the lemons making lemonade. So pucker up, because we're going to be discussing our life's lessons and the nitty-gritty details of our spiritual journeys.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Drusilla.
I'm Melissa.
Hello, this is Morgan.
And I'm Penny. Welcome to our podcast today.
Oh, hello, lovely people. So today, we're going to start with a question. Have you put things off? Are you procrastinating? Not only are you procrastinating, but are you beating yourself up about it? Are you beating your family up about it? What's the meaning that you're making of all of it, of all of the putting things off, of getting it done, not getting it done? And can you see opportunities for healing in it? Well, that, folks, is what we're talking about today. And we're going to kick it over to Penny to start us off.
Well, hello, everybody. And thank you, Amanda. So happy to be here with you all. So procrastination, I think a couple of podcasts before, Amanda and Morgan were talking about, I can't even remember for sure, but it was something that triggered my memory into something that's helped me to overcome procrastination. And I love Brian Tracy. He's when I was in sales, he was like the guru to help me have a great attitude when I go out for my sales calls. And he also wrote a book called Eat That Frog. And I love it. And Mark Twain once said that if the first thing you do each morning is to eat a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that it is probably the worst thing that's going to happen to you all day long. And so what it really means is that if it sounds strange, I know, to eat that frog, but what it actually means is that if you can take on whatever it is that you've been procrastinating and do it the first thing in the morning, then the rest of the day is just going to go so easy and smooth because you've got that off your list of things to do. And so I just thought it would be fun to do a podcast around eating the frog and how that plays into our spiritual journey, and what's the cost of procrastinating, and how does it stop us from living our best lives and make us play small. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that if we all ate a live frog first thing in the morning, which is our most challenging thing, life could be so much different. So I just want to throw it out to all you.
So Penny, what is the most challenging thing for you? What is your frog?
Oh my gosh. So
what are you eating for breakfast tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning.
Not a live frog.
Oh my gosh. So I have a list of things to do and then when they start ruminating in my brain, I call it my brain dump. I put it down on a list, and then I just kind of leave that list there. And sometimes I get to them and sometimes I don't. But if I get them out of my head, then they're at least not taking up headspace. But right now, one of the things that I'm working on is I have an electric vehicle. And since January 23rd, I have been trying to get carpool stickers. In California, that's a big deal when you can ride in the carpool lane without having two people in your car, which with a fully electric vehicle, you get to do that. And I think I got the letter back yesterday again from them rejecting my application. And so I had it on my list to do first thing this morning. I was going to call them, and I called and they said, "We don't take any phone calls. You can only go to our website." And so I put it off until just before we were starting to record this podcast. to write a letter along with my resubmission because it's the fourth time I have submitted for these carpool stickers. And I'm really trying to stay in my loving heart because I really want the stickers because they really are very exciting to have in California. And so anyway, so I put it off until just before this, and it's 2:00 Pacific time right now as we're recording. And so that was the frog that I did not eat, but I have it all ready to go. And actually, I think when we're done recording today, I'm going to run to the post office and put it in the mail. And we'll see if in 6 weeks I get it back with some more information. But I'm including a letter telling them all of the things I've done. It's so funny. I've never had this. This is like the 5th and 6th car I've gotten carpool stickers for. I've never ran into a problem. So I guess they're getting more serious about it as more people get electric vehicles. So that's my frog right now. I don't know. That's what I got. What about you, Drusilla?
Oh, goodness. Well, I have quite a few frogs, actually. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. I have been just on vacation. Just been on vacation mode. I haven't done shit. I won't say that.
Beep.
Oh, gosh. And I have so been procrastinating. And it's so easy to do that when you're going to be on vacation. And then after vacation, we had another vacation because my husband had his, so we went to Greece. We were gone for 10 days, came back. And then 3 days later, we had to go to Florida for Patrick's high school reunion. So knowing that I was going to be inactive for all those days, I started procrastinating about 2 weeks before that. And I'll still be procrastinating for another couple of weeks. So this is probably not the best question for me because I have way, way too many frogs that I need to be eating tomorrow. So, but I would say what I procrastinate the most about is things that involve creativity, which is the bulk of what I do for a living, working in the film industry. So anything, it's just kind of like the whole writer's block, that there really is no such thing. What it is that you're being afraid to show up fully present and knowing, and so, and diving back into that. Like I have so much I need to be doing, reviewing a screenplay and fine tuning it so that I can present it to someone, just all sorts of things like that. And I so procrastinate because I'm so attached to it, first of all. So I know when I get into it, I have to be present and I have to fully engage. And it can be just so difficult to do. And it is a spiritual thing. And I know that. But yeah, I do it often. More often than I like.
So Drusilla, let me ask you this then. You mentioned a fear of like, I don't know if you use the word fear, but that's what popped into my mind. So what is it that you're afraid of or that you can think of right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many levels. Of course, the underlying fear in which, for me, this is very clear just because I've done enough work to figure it out. So, but the fear of just showing up fully and authentically every day, because I know that it's the only way that I can put my best foot forward. Like, I cannot write a good screenplay without showing up fully. And so I know that. And so with that in my mind, it takes that much more for me to sit down and say, hey, today I'm working on that screenplay. You get that?
Yeah.
It's not just like going to the store and getting a loaf of bread. It's not just like sitting down and sending an email. this really takes a chunk out of who you are, you know? And so I've heard people talk about it with same with artistry, with, painting or something and writer's block and all of that. It's just because it's, you know, and I think it's also because of the level of attachment you have to the outcome. Like you can't even start because you're already attached to the outcome. You're attached to it being perfect because you already know it represents who you are. And it's just so complicated and so challenging of a thing that before I started um, writing screenplays and film and that thing, I couldn't relate to what writer's block felt like or what an artist may have felt like, in producing art. It just seemed like it's a fun thing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is. But at the same time, there's this weight that comes with it. It's a weight that is, like I said, it's just like taking a part out of your soul and just presenting it out to the world. And and owning everything that's with that. It's kind of like your child when you first send them off to kindergarten or something. And you own everything about them, right? It's not as if they chose anything about themselves, right? And it's like that whole feeling, like, I don't know, it's just like it feels very vulnerable, extremely vulnerable. Every aspect of it, every piece of it feels vulnerable just to even sit down and say, is this what you're doing? It's really delicate.
And do you beat yourself up if you don't get to it when you want to get to it?
Yes, very much so. But what I have found is when I am spiritually healthy and balanced, I don't procrastinate half as much. And if I do put things off, I don't call it procrastinating and it doesn't feel like procrastinating. Yeah.
That's a really good point, Drusilla.
You prioritize.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I give myself permission to take breaks. I give myself permission to, whether it's a day, a week, or, hours in the day, I give myself permission, and it always just feels more perfect because other things are happening and other things are lining up. And it reassures me that I'm taking the right time and I'm taking, time to myself that I need, because I do need to be doing other things as well. Maybe I need to be just making phone calls that day or reaching out to people or going out to lunch, and then I'll meet someone in the film industry, so it all works in tandem when I'm not making myself feel guilty about it. And I am being balanced with it and I'm not putting pressure on myself. And I actually heard that from someone. I'm not sure. Actually, it was in a film that I was watching on the plane ride to Greece. And it was that writer's block is not a thing. And they were explaining just that. It's your fear of showing up authentically. And if you're able to just do that, then there is no such thing as writer's block.
It's so
Beautiful.
interesting. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. But I don't think it's any different than, that feeling when you have a problem, even if it's business related, and you can't figure it out, or you have a complex customer or anything like that. And then as soon as you walk away, when you go do something totally unrelated and come back, and it just all seems to come together. So it's the same, that you surrender it.
Right.
It's the whole surrendering and just aligning vibrationally to the universe, which is where you're supposed to be anyways. And that's where creativity comes from. So yeah, it's the same. So it's not like it's just something special for creatives in that aspect. We all are creatives, right?
And I think it's the same for like a big to-do list, business thing that you think you have to do it all on your own. And, oh, I've got this huge list and I better get at it. And then you just keep pushing yourself and you just keep thinking, I'm alone, I got to figure this out. And so then you procrastinate. And instead of partnering up with, God, the universe, something like that, where you're like, oh, okay, I'm not doing this alone. And also there's divine timing, and it'll happen. It happens when it's supposed to happen, or there is even a lesson in it. Like perhaps I'm in a job that I really hate and I got all this shit to do, and I keep procrastinating and pushing up against it because I really don't want to be here at this job, something like that. So yeah, I think what you said about, when you kind of get a little more spiritual with it, you start getting the answers, and you can start stepping into the projects and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's really all about flow, because being in the flow allows you to kind of eliminate those things that, like you said about the list. Like I could have a list of things, and I don't even do lists anymore. I don't write them down. Let's just say I don't write them down. There's some lists going on for sure. But there are things when you're vibrationally aligned with the universe, there's things that'll be on that list. But when you wake up that day, that's not something you should be doing, because the universe reveals that to you. And you don't second guess it, you just don't.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a whole spiritual practice, is trusting the intuition about what to do today, and then not beating yourself up if you don't do it, because that lowers the vibration. Or Morgan, I know you were talking about Abraham Hicks's view on procrastination, and that's.
Yeah, and honestly, it's exactly what Drusilla said. Like a lot of times, if we are procrastinating on something, it's because we are not energetically aligned with it. And it is actually not helpful to do it if the energy isn't aligned around it. So at that point, if you're not energetically aligned with it, then the goal is to figure out how you can get energetically aligned with it, or check in with spirit and see, is this something that needs to stay on my to-do list? And I am a big to-do list maker, and I used to do it in a completely ego-based, fear-based way, like to just it was a should list. Like it was like a list of things that every time I looked at it, it was not like getting me excited. It was like, oh God, look at all these things I have to do. Now it's more like how Penny described her to-do list. Like it's just a brain dump. It's getting it out of my head so that I don't have it just constantly like chirping away in there. And I could be writing it in pencil, but I don't own any pencils, but it's like very fluid. You know what I mean? Like I have no problem scratching something off of my to-do list, not because it was completed, but because it doesn't need to be on there anymore. Like I'm just getting no, I don't really actually want to do this. Like it sounded like a good idea at one time, but nah. And like, I don't feel any kind of like way about taking something off of my to-do list if I feel like it no longer like needs to be there. I don't know if that makes sense. But another thing that's interesting for me is like, on the one hand, like my personality wants things regimented. Like I had this idea that when I quit working full time and moved down here to Costa Rica, I would chunk my day into blocks, and like I'd spend an hour or two working on completing my spiritual counseling. I'd spend an hour or two helping John Mark with his music stuff. I'd spend an hour or two, this, that, and the other. I had it all like formulaically outlined in my mind. And it's just like, have I learned nothing? Like, that is just not the way that I work. That is not the way most people work. And that's not the way spirit works. Like, spirit delights in surprises and spontaneity. And you mentioned getting into the flow state, Drusilla. And so I keep my to-do list and I keep it loose. I keep it like there and I refer to it, but I feel into like, okay, what am I to do now? And I might scan my to-do list and see if anything is like, oh yeah, that's the thing I want to do right now. And there's a feeling of excitement. Like, I have the time, I have the inspiration, I have the motivation to do this right now. And if nothing on that to-do list jumps out, I might hop in the kitchen and, cook something, or go out and plant something in the yard, or go take the dogs for a walk. It might be something that's not on my to-do list that I'm inspired to do, but it's just letting the burden of the list drop away and feeling into what I want to do. But I do still run into things like Penny was talking about, those frogs that I know that I would like to do, or I know that I'm being guided to do, but I'm keeping myself apart from doing them for some reason. It might be sort of like what Drusilla was talking about as well. Like, it's like that not willing to do it until it's perfect, and not feeling like I know how to make it perfect. And so just that state of paralysis. So I don't know. It's a little dance.
Yeah.
I have to share this little miracle that happened. And I'm surprised I didn't think of this when I was speaking earlier, but Morgan just reminded me of it. I was actually kind of ranting and raving about this exact thing on what day did I leave? Oh, on last Thursday. And I was at Stone Mountain Park. And, I just loved going there for inspiration, right? And that's where I actually got the inspiration to do a documentary. So I was ranting to this guy, and he was telling me that, sometimes we actually use other people as an excuse. For example, I was telling him that, about the condo that we bought, and we're renovating it. And I've just been focusing on that. And I'm like, yeah, my husband wants to do these one-off projects, and then I can't focus on my work. And, I really need to get back to doing my documentary, right? And all at the same time, there was this whole guilt thing going on with me procrastinating on the documentary, right? And so I was totally just projecting, right? Mm-hmm. Right in the middle of me saying that, I get this text from a young lady who's working on the documentary with me. I hadn't followed up with her since February, you guys. And this was what she said. She said, I dreamed of you and the project. She said, you called me and told me it's worldwide. It's way bigger than you had planned. She sent me that in the middle of the conversation.
Oh, I love that.
I said, so this is the kind of inspiration you get when Spirit's telling me, Drusilla, baby, no, do your thing. Get back to work, girl. And it just happens like that all the time. And that's part of the reason why, and I know we all talk about this, at some point you begin to just realize, we kind of lose sight every now and again, and we all get into our funks about different things, whether it's relationships or projects or, people, money, whatever it is. But once you've had enough of these little miracles, little signs, it's not going to last long. So you don't just stay in your funk. You can only stay in there. I can only let me be in the funk for a day while I rant and rave and run up the mountain and be pissed off because, I'm not working on my documentary. And so, just that's why I can give myself a break,
Yeah.
give yourself a break and not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. I think that cutting yourself some slack, for me, it helps get me out of procrastination as well.
Yeah.
A lot of times, not a lot of times, but I have noticed that if there's too many things to do, on one hand, if I have a whole bunch of stuff to do, I won't do it. Or if I have just a couple of things to do, I won't do it either because, I feel like there's this sweet spot of things that need to get done. And it is hilarious. And for me, the spiritual practice in discovering, like building my website, I'm working with Melissa to get my website done. And it was just so much, like starting a business, getting all the legal stuff, the paperwork. It felt like too much to do. And Melissa did help me recognize that I am doing it, but at the same time, I'm beating myself up for not doing it faster, or it doesn't look like this or like that. It's just so interesting how it's a form of self-sabotage for me. Like my negative self-talk puts me in I don't know if trance is the right word, but a melancholy state where then I just don't want to do anything. And yeah, and it is good to have friends to remind us that, it will pass. You are doing it. Don't blame anyone else. That's a good friend, Drusilla, whoever said, why are you blaming someone else? Right. That's a good friend who say that.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah. So easy to blame.
Mm-hmm.
To blame. Absolutely. That's why I procrastinate. And the spiritual lesson for me is to know that it is all divine timing. Like it's perfect. It is perfect. And to see that perfection. Yeah.
Yes.
One thing that I did to start, one thing I learned about myself is I need to not buy anything that's a project. Don't go to the thrift store and buy a table that needs a new coat of paint. Don't go, you know what I mean?
I'm laughing because I know.
So good.
One time, and I swear the table sat in the corner of my kitchen or my dining room, taunting me for over a year. And I finally donated it back to Goodwill. And then I was like, no more buying anything that's a project. Buy it, ready to go, complete. Just and that was an act of self-love. That was a learning for me. For people who love to craft, I mean you no disrespect.
Yeah. I had to get rid of a lot of the projects, things that I were stuck in my closet. When my husband and I decided to reinvent our lives or to start living divine purpose, I thought I wanted to, I took up spinning and crochet and knitting and all this stuff because I thought that that's what was, regenerative people should do. And I invested some doll and yarn and all that kind of stuff because I was going to be the perfect homesteader. And yeah, so gone now, right? I don't like it. That's part of the self-discovery is, what? I was projecting what I thought my life should look like and what I thought that I should be doing. And it really just didn't trip my trigger. So it's got to go. It's got to go. Mm-hmm.
All those great ideas.
Yeah.
It sounds like great ideas. And then what also sounds like a great idea is supporting a crocheter on Etsy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Mine just
Yeah.
goes to the thrift store just automatically, not automatically. It's sat in the shelf for 5-6 years maybe. And then I'm like, no, just no. It's got to go.
Mhm.
Somebody in our support group meeting on Sunday, one of the support group that I co-facilitate, someone said, excellence, not perfection, is what she's learning, because she's like a recovering perfectionist. And I know that she didn't invent that phrase, but I think it's super helpful, because I think pretty much everyone gets caught up in that perfection paralysis. So I'm staying with that.
Perfection paralysis. I love that. What about Melissa or Penny? What kind of procrastination learnings are you having? Spiritual enlightenment through procrastination.
Well, I'm a hard driver. So if I have a list, I am doing my list. And, that's not always so great, because I run myself into the ground. But I have a very large procrastination right here. If you're watching this video, it's like a little presentation area that I was supposed to start doing videos for my company 2 years ago. And I have never once done it. And I was really beating myself up about it like a month or so ago. Not only do I have like every marketing person telling me that I have to do videos and, have decided in my head, this is going to make us billions of dollars if I only were to start the videos. Right. So I have an amazing business coach, and she's like, just start playing around with doing fun stuff with your phone, like do different voices, just get used to it. So she helped me see some other ways to enter it from like a different angle or from the side, not just straight on. So she's like, say it in a carnival. Like fun stuff.
Oh, I got to hear your carnival.
I want to hear that.
You got to do it right now.
Come on. Procrastinating. I'm not doing it. I haven't done it.
Just try.
I'll practice it. No, I'm not going to try.
I just want to hear the voice. I just want to hear the carnival
welcome
voice.
to TikTok. No, something. No, welcome to Pharmstrong.
Love it.
Something like that. But see, I don't know. For me with this, it was such pressure that it's going to save the day. Like it's going to do something. It was attached to an outcome. So it has become so much bigger than it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, instead of like a little curtain that I could open to walk through the video, it's like a bank vault door that I have to like move all these big, gears to open it. It feels like that big and that massive and that far away. So, I just, I feel like I'm gaining confidence every day.
Yeah. We should challenge each other. We should be accountability partners, because I've just started putting videos of myself on my Instagram, and that has been on my to-do list for over 2 years also, much like your Pharmstrong videos. So
I would much rather send you instructional videos on how to do it than doing my own.
Perfect example of how everything we tell somebody is really meant for us. Melissa's been sending me by email these vlog tutorials and tips, stuff like that.
Get out there and do it, Morgan.
Yeah, Melissa.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And you guys, and we also have to celebrate our successes, right? Because look at us showing up on a podcast, putting ourselves out there, showing up authentically, no matter what is going on. So, yeah, celebrating successes. Yeah.
Sorry, Amanda. Melissa, what if you did it in this format, since you're already used to this format? Got somebody to get on a Zoom with you and interview you about your products. And I don't know, just an idea that came.
I think that's the best idea ever. I've had someone else mention that to me, and I was like, oh gosh, that's it. I can completely do that. And then I procrastinated finding someone.
Well, we're going to hold you accountable.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
But
you.
only if you want to be.
Yeah, only if you want to be. This is no pressure here.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know even. I wouldn't mind if someone else did the videos.
Yeah.
But, we'll see.
Are you playing small?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
And you're proud of it.
Absolutely.
And nobody's going to have the same passion for it as you do.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm playing small, and yes, there's fear in it. And yes, what if I do it wrong? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm a total failure? All of that. And that
can resonate with all of that.
Yeah.
It's part of my procrastination, right? I mean,
that is it.
It's kind of that all or nothing thinking, right? We either have to do it all completely perfect or forget it. I can't do anything. That's what I struggle with at times, is that all or nothing thinking. Yeah. Black or white. Yeah.
That's me too.
Yeah. I was also thinking, as I can't remember who was talking earlier, but when I sometimes I write down the lists out of I dump it out of my brain, first to free up the space, but also because I'm afraid I'm going to forget it. Right. And I noticed this last week that I didn't write anything down. And I woke up one morning and I went, oh yeah, I need to do XYZ. And so I went and did it. And then, oh yeah, I promised Amanda I'd send her some stuff. I didn't even write it down. And I went and did it. And I it was just like, oh, that was so easy. And I think it was probably when I was more connected spiritually, more in the flow. And it was just really nice not to go, oh yeah, I can do that right now. And no pressure, no negative energy pushing me.
Yeah.
Just it was easy and smooth, going with the flow.
That ties in perfectly with another Abraham Hicks teaching. They say, or Esther was saying that whenever she gets the idea like, oh, Jerry, let's not forget to call so-and-so, she just goes ahead and calls them if she can, if the situation permits, because that's when you're aligned with the text. So it sounds like you were doing it as you were in alignment with it. And like, until I put things on my to-do list, they keep showing up in my brain. So I'm not going to forget them. It's like, if I would be open to what you're describing, Penny, I feel certain most things that really need to get done would get done in that manner without a to-do list.
Yeah.
It's like my security blanket.
I actually do think I am more likely to get everything done operating the way, aligning with spirit, than I am the way I used to manage with less, for sure.
Yes.
Wow, you guys, time is flying by. Any final thoughts on procrastination or the spiritual practice in it?
Just let yourself off the hook.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a perfect way to end. Give yourself a break.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that cat bar.
This is not a paid advertisement.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored yet.
No.
Yeah.
Do you have any
I wanted to
call-us?
tell you, I watched a great movie. It's on Hulu, Flaming Hot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's really about a guy who was, playing small, but he wanted to play large, play big. And he got that opportunity, and his wife was really supportive. It's about how Flaming Hot Cheetos came to be in Frito-Lay. It's a really great movie. I enjoyed it. And it's all very spiritually based. And so, yeah, it's a good movie.
You have a post-it for today, Penny?
Oh, I do. And you'll have to just enjoy my drawing. And it's just eat that frog.
Eat that frog.
Isn't that a great frog?
That is a great frog.
That is a great frog.
Beautiful. Well, thank you everybody for listening today. And please visit us online at fivelemonslaughing.com. We've got a resources page there where we've got links to different books that you hear us reference on the show from time to time. We've got links to Jennifer Hadley's Power of Love Ministry, which we mention on here quite often. And our social media is linked there as well. And of course, you can listen to these episodes there. We're glad you're here. Come back next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Love you all.
Bye.
Have a great week.